Hi, I'm Honey, and welcome to the final Surviving Mindcrack Island retrospective vlog. Day 10. It's over. You guys have seen all the episodes. You've seen the finale where we saw the final winner on the live stream or when they put it up to YouTube's or whatever. If you haven't, check it out. It was a lot of fun. And it's over. It's been such a wild ride. It was a great opportunity at the time, 2.5 years ago. It was such a great scope. It was working with such great people. It was fun to see other people's reactions. Like, ooh, take a picture with Etho, and, silly stuff like that. And, some of these guys like Seth and Etho, I had worked with before already. I had done stuff, whether recording wise or for fun, and they're just great guys. And the fact that I got nominated and Pac said, "Hey, I really think she would be good here," at a time when they didn't have any women in Mindcrack. Obviously, Aurelian is now part of it. And I actually told Good, I said, thinking back, if I had one, it probably would have caused y'all a heap of trouble. And Ori is fantastic for y'all. And that doesn't mean I would say no to Mindcrack. But I do think, as far as a female gamer, she has a popularity in her own right. And she's been able to be a great addition to the Mindcrack guys. And I just think, overall, everybody always says it's just an honor to be nominated. In a way, overall, just to be part of it was phenomenal. To get down to the top 3 was incredible. And I know there have been lots of people who have been like, she didn't even play the game, or whatever salty thing, she turned against people who helped her. I know. I've had people point that out, and I don't feel like I turned on Desi or Lorgon. I talked about that a little bit in the last week's vlog. I don't feel that there was any tie to them. And at the same time, kind of like with Ron, when he had sort of had an agreement with Dyer, and he still came to vote time, and he flipped. At the same time, if that was actually a thing, you have to play the game based on what you think is best. And I felt like I was best to align with this group, with these two that had offered that up. And I do realize, looking back, how much they, in a way, carried me and protected me and, treated me almost like a glass doll at some stages. It was like, we need to protect you, not just for, hey, don't get another death for us as a group, but for you. Even when we were doing individual things, and it was only going to go against me, they still wanted to be sure I wasn't just going to be in a death loop or a pain loop. I think just to be able to say I was part of this is cool. You think back at the time, and as loopy as we were and as crazy as it was, and all of the pressure and the strain and excuse me, and heat of the moment stuff, was an incredible experience. And 10 weeks of fantastic content, even if it did take 2.5 years to get out, recorded in one sitting, is absolutely unreal. I mean, that is unheard of, right? Right? There's lots of things I could sit here and say, oh, I would do different. But at the end of the day, you know what? As I edited it, there were plenty of moments that I facepalmed at myself. There were plenty of moments I was like, what were you thinking? What were you saying? I'd never once had the feeling of I was ashamed of my actions. I never felt ashamed looking back and re-editing it. I never felt regret that I said something about somebody, or that I plotted and was hurtful or spiteful. I am genuinely happy with my performance, with how I represented myself. I've had some people very nicely and very sweetly say that I was the heart of the show, that to have the little bit of giggle, to have that little bit of humanity, to have that little bit of not trying to stay too distant, but just, just being a player, experiencing it and living in the moment was what they took from it. And that's awesome. That's awesome. Even if only one person, and I've had quite a few people make that comparison, even if only one person feels like, hey, you were integral to the show because I really loved your interactions, or I loved the sense of a heart, or the sense of a connection with you, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be with the caliber of people that I was at, to be with people who are all very good at what they do, who were all suggested and, kind of debated and narrowed down on this list and said, yeah, okay, you're up there. Dyer's the only one who knows where he was on the list. I don't think that list was necessarily in any kind of order besides, okay, these are the top 12, and then these are the remaining. But to be able to say, hey, I was part of this and it was incredible, is pretty cool. I've talked about before how, on one hand, I really wish it had come out then when it possibly would have had the most impact on my channel, on my views, on my growth, or when Minecraft was more relevant, and Mindcrack was in its heyday and all that good stuff. On the other hand, I'm really, really glad that it came out exactly how it did, because although there was some doubts and some worries that it may not come to fruition, I did always kind of have faith that one day we will be able to have this footage. And one day, Good kept saying, I'm still working on it, guys. We're doing this or we're doing that. We're looking at the editing. We're looking at an editor. And I just think to be able to sit back and say, you know what? The folks that find me now are finding me in a better place than I was mentally and emotionally 2.5 years ago. I think I'm in a better place within my stream, within my job, within what I do and how I do it. And as people come around now, I think that maybe they'll enjoy it a little more than they would have way back then. And I had to have great views and new folks coming around saying, hey, I loved you there. And I think it's done exactly what they wanted it to do, They wanted us as contestants to have a love of Survivor like they do. And they wanted to focus it on small streamers and hopefully impact them. Some of the folks that were involved in this are huge, independently on their own, always, big YouTubers now. Some folks who were involved in this are virtually gone from the net. You don't know where they are, or there's no videos, etc. In the end, it came down to the remnants of Blue Team, right? We talked much about it not being red versus blue, and although I think Dyer did talk about us being, the best people he knows or his best friends, to some of the people that he was trying, like Ron, that he was trying to bring on. I think some of that was a little bit of the, hey, let's convince you. I'm trying to tell you how solid we are. Because we really weren't, just best chums, buds. We had worked together. We knew of each other. And it was just sort of the circumstances. We happened to be nominated. We happened to be together. But lots of other people knew each other too. But to sit there and to go through that experience together, we definitely were closer afterwards because of it, And I have the utmost respect for Dark Fan and for Dire Dwarf and how everything played out. I feel like each of them were very much metagaming from the beginning. And I was very much try to protect my butt and not embarrass myself too much and have a good time and experience it. End of the day, Dark Fan, Honney, and Dire Dwarf. Top 3. Dire Dwarf won immunity. He just knew more of the answers to the Mindcrack trivia. And with immunity came, hey, you vote for the person you want to take with you. And that turned into the 1987 penny flip, coin flip. I was not the one who went along for the next step. But I made it right to there. I was voted out by 1 vote. And I don't think there was anything personal at all to it. I honestly believe Dyer, when he flipped it, I know we heard it, and I believe he called it exactly as it is. I have faith that that was done. In my interview, you'll see him from my perspective, it's like, whether he did or he didn't, I don't know. I wouldn't hold it against him if he didn't. But he's told me he did, and I believe that. And I think the important thing is, I was the very last one out. I made it as far as you could possibly go without being at the top 2. And I'm still sort of overwhelmed when I think about it. I was editing my ending interviews and I listened. I started crying just listening to my voice. And I was right there again. I was right there. There's one point, I don't think you can hear it in the official episode. I think it was my interview with Seth from the Mindcrack trivia performance. And there's one point when I was talking to Seth where I said insulin. I didn't mean to say insulin. I was trying to say adrenaline. And I said insulin because I was very much thinking of my son. When I said you get so close you can taste it, it's because I had just declared streaming my job 4 months earlier. April of 2013. A year and some change after I started streaming. And I had just got to tell my son that I was going to try to make this my job and make my living playing games, take this hobby and turn it into a job. And a few weeks later, he was dead. But he had a chance to tell me how proud he was of me. And I know what a big, huge etho fanatic he was. And I know how much he loved every one of these Mindcrack guys. He loved watching Pac. He thought Good's laugh was very much like mine. He thought Good was funny. And he was enamored with etho. And all of a sudden I got to thinking about, if you win, this would be huge for you, for your kids. You had the potential of quote unquote making it, right? I got to thinking about, and I've talked about this before, I got to thinking about how Vintage Beef and I were both on the same Dear Doc episode where we were featured as YouTubers, and how Vintage Beef is, part of Mindcrack and has grown so much. And I'm still a relatively small streamer and YouTuber. And I started thinking about that. I started thinking about, this is a chance for you to take off, to do things just like those guys. And I got to thinking about what a better life I could make for my kids. And what an opportunity it would be to work with people of an excellent caliber within our field, to work with people at various levels of subscribers and views and all that stuff. But overall, they're all professionals, you know, like me, totes professional, right? And it's just sort of like I started to believe, I started to let myself believe or dream that I would win this. And I started thinking about how proud my son would be, how good it would be, like I said, for my kids, for our lives, to try to take what I do to that next level. There's very little opportunities for promotion in what you do, you know? I'm an entertainer. And sure, other than, you know, my subscription as a side, you know, income, other than my subscription campaign with GameWisp, possibly being, you know, partnered with Twitch in the future, there's really not a lot of opportunities for quote unquote promotion or additional exposure or opportunities, etc. And all of a sudden I just sort of let myself feel like I could taste that winning bite. I could taste that congratulations, you're the next Mindcracker. And I spent the whole time thinking, everybody's gunning for me. And then, hey, maybe not everybody's gunning for me. Maybe they're all as nervous as I am. Hey, maybe some of these people actually want me on the server. Maybe I have a chance to, holy crap, it's down to just the three of us. And suddenly, it could be me. Suddenly, the reality of that possibility seemed so tangible. And I'm sure it was the fatigue and I'm sure to a point it's just being a girl and being a little more emotional. I think we were all a bit emotional at that stage. We were all really worn down. But all of a sudden, that's where I was. So when my name was called and I was voted out, that glass slipper turning back to nothing, that pumpkin instead of a coach, all of those things just sort of going, oh, it's midnight, reality struck, here you go. That's not your lot in life. That's not your fate. That's not for you. That's not your prize. And suddenly, it just hurt so much. I'm sorry. When I've talked to you guys about this experience, I'm fresh from editing it. I really want to try to tell you where my mindset was right then. And that's where my mindset was right then. Am I disappointed I lost? Of course. Would I have preferred to win? Oh, yeah. Would I have done anything different if I could do it again? Probably not. Maybe be a little more aware of what the heck I was getting into. You know, maybe be a little more aware of the survivor aspect of it. But I had never heard that. I didn't know that is exactly what it was. I heard, you know, Survivor Project, and I just sort of thought UHC, last one standing somehow, you know? Which is part of why I really didn't think I would make it. So, I really do stand by what I said in the beginning. To be a part of it was incredible. to have the exposure of it, even 2.5 years later, and have people say, hey, I saw you there, was awesome. Has it been good for my channel? Absolutely. Was it good for me personally? Yeah, it was so much fun and such a unique experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. When we got together for the live stream, no tears, no frustration. I've known for 2.5 years that I did not make it to the final two. And I honestly, genuinely am okay with that. If Mindcrack came calling and said, would you like to be part of our server a year from now or tomorrow? I'd say the same thing I have all these years. Hell yeah, y'all need some more estrogen in there. But am I going to worry about it or lose sleep over it? No. I am content with top 3. I am content with how I represented myself. And I think I can look back and I could let my kids watch any one of those episodes and not feel shame or regret. And to me, that's incredibly important. I do hope that there is a way to work with collab and work with some of the other guys there. I really do. I think they were all really great. Whether or not they want to work with me is a whole other story. But right now, life is good. Life is full and rich and beautiful. And I'm just so glad you guys got to see what we all experienced all that time ago. I knew when I got down to that ending, when I actually talked about, I would put myself right back there in that moment, and I knew I would lose it. Sorry about that. But I would much rather express how I feel right now in this moment, right then in that moment, and feel that loss and feel that pain, than live as I had so much of my life as just a hollow shell, just trying to get through the day and not feel anything. So yeah, I'm quick to laugh, and yeah, I'm quick to cry if I get emotional. But I will cherish the joy of feeling that over just living as I did so much of my life. But that is another story, and those of you who are regulars know what I'm talking about. But anyway, that's me. Y'all wonder why I'm 5 years old. Y'all wonder why I laugh so freely at life. It's because I've lived through so much. And life is good right now. And I don't think life could ever be as bad as it was. Anyway. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. I hope you had fun. Bye.